listening to music while running is retarded. Now, let me tell you why. So, for context, today I went on a 6 a.m. run. I ran 2 miles. Nothing too crazy. I actually had a party yesterday and I partied till like 11. And then, well, because I'm a very disciplined person and I always want to make sure I do things that make me feel disciplined, the next day I went on a 2-mile run, which was today. So, and today, honestly, I didn't really want to run. I didn't want to run because I was like, dude, I don't have to run. I mean, like, I have pretty good stamina already, but I was like, why do I have to run? And then I was reminding myself, you have to go run because you put on your journal, on your daily to-do, that you were going to run. So that's literally quite fluently the first thing I did when I woke up. I woke up and the first thing I did was I went and put my shoes on, shirt on, and then went on a run. But this time I did something differently. I put on my AirPods. Now they're not here with me right now, they're over there, they're outside. But this time I actually went on my run with AirPods on. And I was listening to music, right? It was fun, it was chill, I was bumping some 50 Cent. Everything was good, I felt very energized, very motivated, I felt great. I felt like I was a Flash running, bro. I could have ran forever. And well, everything was going good, right? But then it came to mile 2, and that's where I started to get a bit tired, right? And then I was changing the music, right? And the music wasn't hitting no more. The music wasn't hitting like it hit in the beginning. I tried adding a new song. Maybe that song will give me more motivation. Change the song, nothing, bro. I get probably even more tired. My head starts hurting. I'm like, oh shoot, bro. Like, I think the music was probably not the way to go. So I continue running. And then I reach mile 2, and then I'm exhausted, I'm tired a little bit, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm taking my headphones off. I'm taking these AirPods off because first of all, they suck. They gave me no source of energy at all. They only gave me a boost of motivation for like a couple of seconds, and then they were gone. Second of all, they're just hurting my ears because a bunch of EMFs just going into my brain. So done with that. So I reached mile 2, and then I literally just took my AirPods and put them back in the case, and I was like, yeah, I'm never doing this ever again. And then fast forward 3 hours later, I came up with the idea. Let me just make a video talking about why listening to music while running is such a bad idea. Now, you can disagree on this if you want, but from my personal experience, I think if you run with music, it is so bad and it is not good, okay? Now, if you're just running because, for fun, sure, listen to music, whatever. But if you're running because you want to achieve something greater, like maybe a marathon, or maybe you're in track and field, or maybe you want to just be more disciplined, I highly recommend you do not listen to music while you run. Now, here's why. So like I said in the beginning, right, when you listen to music while you're running, you get a sense of motivation for a little bit, right? You feel motivated in the beginning, you feel pumped up, like very motivated, ready to run, ready to crush the run you're about to take on, right? You feel very motivated. But then later on, as you continue just pushing yourself way more, the music starts to fade away and the music has zero effect on you whatsoever. And now you're like, oh shoot, I have no motivation anymore. The music is not working. Now what? That's when you have to dig deep in your soul and find a sense of motivation. Now if you don't know how to do that, and if you don't know what that is, it's going to be very, very challenging for you. That's why I'm going to tell you guys right now what I do instead of listening to music while I go on a run. Now, I run a lot, okay? I run often. I run like 3 miles, 5 miles. I run often, all right? I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go on runs oftenly. I have really good stamina. And well, I read this book called Never Finished by David Goggins. I'm sure you guys heard me talk about this book a lot. And well, the book, David Goggins, he's a ultra marathon. This guy has ran like 100 miles. So he's pretty experienced. So basically what he says is that whenever you are running and whenever you feel like you have zero motivation, you have to just dig deep inside your soul and find some sense of motivation. Now, one of the ways he says that you should dig deep and get some motivation is just imagine your younger self, your past self who used to be fat, ugly, undisciplined, immature, etc. Just imagine your old self. Now imagine your old self just chasing you behind, saying, I am still here, Oscar. I have gone nowhere. I'm still here, and I'm going to come to your life and ruin you. David Goggins says that the moment you imagine that, your mind starts to say, no, you're not going to catch up. You are not going to take over my life because you are gone. The version I am right now is a great version of myself and is the best version of myself. And I am not going to give up. I am not going to allow my old self to come back into my life because I have completely destroyed it. That is one of the things that David Goggins says that you must do. Whenever you feel like you have no motivation and you're just trying to find this motivation to just keep going. Another thing that I love to do whenever I like have no motivation, when I'm running, I'm low on energy, but I still have to just finish my run. What I love to do is I just imagine my future, my life. I just imagine my dream life. You know, living in Europe, living in somewhere in Switzerland or Italy or Bali, and then I just imagine that dream life, and then I imagine me having my beautiful wife, and I imagine my kids, and I imagine like just being this very successful guy and being very disciplined, being a very influential guy, a man of God, a God-fearing man. And then I just imagine myself and I say, dude, if I want to get that life, I have to work hard for it. And if I want to get that life, I can't give up on the things that I'm doing right now. In this instance, it's the run. But I always tell myself, do not give up. If you want to become that ideal man that you want to strive to become, that God-fearing man, that religious man, that Catholic man, if you want to become that man, you have to just push yourself and work hard, and you cannot give up. Regardless of how hard things get, you just have to continue pushing yourself. So that is how I dig deep into my soul and find like motivation and energy to just keep pushing in my runs. And I don't just do this on runs. I do this in a lot of aspects of my life: homework, school, sports, making videos, reading books, etc. Many things. So that is my opinion. I think when you listen to music while running, it's a really bad idea, and it's just a false way of giving you motivation for like a couple of minutes. It fades away a lot, okay? And also, I wanted to share with you guys that I think that one of the biggest things a man should do, man, woman, whatever, but mainly for men, because I'm a guy, so I speak from a guy perspective. But I think that every guy should do multiple things that make him feel disciplined. That could be going to the gym, that could be going on runs, that could be, I don't know, surfing, that could be boxing, MMA, sports, that could be push-ups or talking to girls, whatever. I think every man, or reading a book, actually, scratch that, not talking to girls, reading. I think every man should do things that make him feel disciplined, because I firmly believe that when a guy does things that make him feel disciplined, that give him that feeling of being super disciplined, that's where he becomes stronger mentally and physically, and becomes an overall just stronger human being, and becomes way sharper. That's why David Goggins, he always goes on these 5 a.m. runs. He always runs these ultra marathons. And the reason why he does that is because he feels whenever he does these things, he gets this like immense feeling of being a disciplined guy. And that's why he keeps going, because that disciplined feeling just keeps him alive, keeps him oozing, keeps him asking for more and wanting to do more. It's like you build this character of discipline, and it just becomes your whole identity, discipline. So that is the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take in what I said right now and practice it into your life, right? Don't just listen, take action, act with speed, and act now. I will see you guys in the next one. God bless. I love you. And always remember that God loves you. Catch you later.